Good morning, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you so very much. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the community college. I have 3 slides, but no clickers, so I'm going to skip that part. Oops, excuse me. Okay. Anyways, the community colleges have been in existence for many, many decades. In fact, Palm Beach State College is celebrating its 80th anniversary, which is the oldest community college in the state of Florida. And as a result of the proliferation of colleges after the 1950s, there are currently 1,200 or so community colleges or public 2-year institutions in the United States. And we are a force to be reckoned with because currently there's approximately 48% of all undergraduate students attending community colleges in the country. I'm very proud of that. And in fact, there are so many students attending colleges these days, it's a topic of conversation in state legislatures throughout the nation because we're experiencing a period of time of change and innovation. And my idea is to try to talk to different communities about how can we make students more successful. 1/3 of all students attending colleges in the country are undecided with their majors. 2 out of every 3 students change their major at least once, and on average, students change their major 3 times. With this many students as undecided and not being committed to majors, we know that about 25% of students going from freshman year to sophomore year do not make it through. We also know that 2/3 of the people that are trying to proceed on just don't make it because of their undecided position and what they are trying to accomplish is just not there. So what can we do about something like this is the question. And so I've been asked frequently to give motivational talks and speeches about student success and leadership. And so what I've talked about is how do we get people to stay, sustain, do better, and complete. I usually start talking about what is it that you want to do and thinking your way into success. And so I will start by saying, thinking your way into success starts with your goal and vision. This is in the literature frequently, that having a goal is the #1 cause of students' success to stay in school, and the #2 is for students to have a mentor, an advisor. And so thinking your way to success is to start with having that vision and goal. Focus on what you want, know what the dream is, persist and keep going. And know that it's possible for you to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. Make sure that you form specific habits, and as a result of forming those habits, do more of what works, and then your thinking will bring you to the place of success. So how does that happen, and how does that work for students? Well, we continue to tell students that persistence, thinking, taking the steps, doing the footwork really makes a difference. Yet when I ask the room, how many of the people in here have a major? How many of the people in the room know what it is that you'd like to do for your careers? 1/3 of the hands go up. And so there's an incongruity there between what students need to have, which is a goal and a vision, and what they actually have when they sit in the seats at school. And this is very important for persistence. And so what happens is that students select majors and, well, actually, 1/3 of all students are undecided. And as I've mentioned before, they don't persist. They're at higher risk for failure or not getting through completion. 85% of the students want to complete college in 4 years. They expect to complete college in 4 years, but 38%, according to the National Center for Education Statistics, only 38% do that. And the number is even lower for attendees of community colleges. That's not great. And so talking to students and trying to motivate them about what they need to do and thinking their way into success is really great, but it doesn't really work all that well because they really do need to take the footsteps and the work to figure out what that goal is. And so my theory and my belief is that students pick majors according to what they're exposed to. And students are exposed to things in their communities, in their environments, their circle of influence, their friends and family. And so people tend to pick majors that are business majors. That's the #1 highest enrolled program of study nationally. The second highest enrolled program of study nationally are health sciences. That is not a surprise. Healthcare is what we talk about all the time. It's in the news, particularly in South Florida. Health sciences is big. And businesses are everywhere. You drive up and down the street. It may be students' first job, working in retail or some other form of business. Public safety is on TV constantly. It's very difficult to watch TV and not see something that has to do with criminal justice or some sort of public safety, law and order, and all these other type of things. And the fourth one's kind of surprising, which is transportation services, which has to do with mechanics. That's one of the highest enrolled programs of study nationally. And then finally, computer science. Computers are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. It's part of our life. It's how we do business. It's a workplace tool, so that is not very surprising. Now these, in fact, to illustrate that exposure really matters to people, I just met this young lady this morning. I'm looking at her right here. And I asked her, what do you want to do when you get out of high school? What do you think you want to do for a career? And she said, I want to be a medical doctor. And I said, how do you know that? That's really great. Well, because I watched a lot of doctor shows and medical shows on TV. This is the exposure people have, right? And my brother, when he was young, before he was even a teenager, he would spend time at the neighbor's house up the street on the hill. Obviously, it wasn't in Florida. There's no hills in Florida. But he would spend time in their basement. They had a tool and die setup of machines and equipment and materials, instrumentation, and they were always building and making things, and they would let him tag along to the factory that they worked in. And he got very interested in this very specialized career, went to school for engineering because he had a directed goal and an understanding of what this was about, and now is an industrial machine broker with a manufacturing engineering baccalaureate degree. So the young people's sphere of influence, their environment, predicts that they're going to select majors like this. And the problem, these are all wonderful majors. They're great programs of study. There are jobs in these fields. But there are other areas of study that the community needs people to focus on. And there are other jobs that we need in our communities. And people need to explore and do a better job of finding out what those are. So colleges have a responsibility, I believe, to make this clearer and to edify young people what it is that they need to study and what is involved in those selections and those choices. And students need to take the responsibility of finding out what are those missing pieces. Do the research to find out what is in the course content and courses so that they persist and are successful in school. So we do things like create these kinds of majors, nanotechnology, and even though we want to edify, be on the cutting edge, and be involved as colleges and universities in providing the communities with the educational programs they're requesting and need. And that's what our job is, to provide the workforce with the support and students and graduates to persist and proliferate and provide opportunities in the communities. We put out programs of study like astrophysics and bioinformatics. And young people that are 18, 19, 20 years old don't know what those are. And a lot of adults don't know either. And so this is where I think there's a disconnect. And so that is one part of the equation. Although fermentation sciences and craft beer making, I think students do some field research on their own at college. But there are other things they should be looking at and thinking about when they're in school. And so what my proposal is that the colleges need to work with the community partners. We need to be more engaged and immersed in our communities in providing students direct learning opportunities. And so the proposal is to have students take a required career exploration course, which is not a new thing, but in the course they're required to have 4 two-hour visits to different businesses in the community, different workplaces, either industrial organization, nonprofit organization, any kind of business, corporation, workplaces. Go there, explore. They have to have a very specific set of criteria and learning outcomes that they have to achieve. They have to do specific reporting on what it is that they've seen there. But what it is to help students relieve themselves of anxiety and the lack of knowledge about what is going on in the world of work. So what is different about this? First of all, it's not internships and it's not field experiences. It's not field trips, but they're actual learning exposure experiences. Students will, and people in general, everybody, if you walk into a building once, you may have a certain level of anxiety and stress about doing that. But after you do it once, your level of stress and anxiety is reduced. So this is one way to relieve students from the anxiety and stress of not doing these types of things when they're young, when they're 18, 19, 20, and have never walked into a 25-story building looking for a particular office and not having that experience ever. Some of our students never have left the county. They've never done these kinds of things. Yet we're expecting them to be selecting this career opportunity or this career choice for the rest of their lives, or at least for the next 10 years, and pay money to the institutions for doing that. And so this is why it makes sense that people are undecided and yet they're not completing. Because if you don't have passion and connection to what it is that you're seeking, it falls apart. It doesn't stay together. And many of the speakers this morning have said the same things about this. You need to have passion and understanding about what it is you're trying to accomplish. And so here's the proposal. Colleges would set up experiences with people in the community, business members, and vet businesses, corporations, and other folks that want to be a part of this endeavor to allow students to do these 2-hour tours. We would have, as colleges, workplace liaisons and coordinators. We would ask the corporations and businesses to appoint someone that's already existing in the workforce to ask people to be liaisons, community educational liaisons, and tour and learn about and work with the colleges on what it is that we're trying to get students to learn and know through these tours. And then the colleges would administrate the program, keep databases, do all the basic work, provide some level of transportation to students, and make sure that the companies and workplaces are vetted and work with faculty. This is one of the features that makes this kind of an idea somewhat unique. Faculty would be directly involved in this. Faculty have to approve and be involved with the companies and the workplaces and be involved with the students, which provides a higher degree of mentoring for the students and someone watching them and seeing what they're doing and what they're learning and why it's important to them. And students would have to, this would be part of a class, it would be transcripted, it would be noted on their transcript where they went. And the best feature, the unique feature of this is that I would like to see workplaces receive tax incentives and grants, as well as the colleges, so that they can be showcasing their businesses and working with colleges more intimately and directly. And this is something I believe, and I have seen this work over and over again for students and for companies when they're more engaged with the colleges. Students will be much more connected, relieved of anxiety, understand and persist with their selection of career and majors in school, save time and money from changing their majors over and over again and taking classes that aren't applying towards their degree. And they would create or have something we call devotional insight or inspiration. students would have a passion for what they're doing. Their educational endeavor would be more meaningful and have greater purpose. They would be more engaged in the work that they have to do. They would have more vocational identity and be able to articulate that they're involved with something they like and they know something about. And so I believe that with all of these things, as well as the communities getting much more involved with the colleges, faculty more involved with the communities, overall giving students a broader understanding of the world that they live and work in, this would create much more student success and much higher completion rates for students in college. And so I hope and I wish that this is an idea that will spread, and that all of you who are community stakeholders and interested in education, or you wouldn't be here, can support something like this. So thank you very much.